What up? It's your boy TV Reaction. Today's Wrestling Wednesday. So it's been mad. Did some wrestling flashback videos though. I've been trying to do something, just I keep pushing them back because one they kind of long, but at the same time, these other new videos coming up. But this one I gotta check out because it is talk about one of the most iconic WrestleMania match of all time: Stone Cold Steve versus The Rock at WrestleMania 17. That the match that changed the game a little bit in wrestling as well too. And I always say this because lately as of recently I've been comparing this build up and matchup between Roman Reigns and CM Punk in a way like this. When Rock and Stone Cold was going at it for his build up for WrestleMania 17, aside from the ending with Austin selling soul to Vince McMahon turning heel. Nobody was turning heel. It was just nothing but intensity. Nothing but each other getting they get back, they lit back to everything while no alignment status being questioned at all as well too. Maybe some probably was questioning, but at the same time, it was no turns that happened. Just a lot of intensity as well too. And I keep saying about this. And the best part of it before the match, on that SmackDown, that Go Home Show SmackDown, were the intense toast leading to the biggest brawl ever, one of the best wrestling brawl ever, the empty locker room brawl, awesome. And I always say that because I'm gonna say this, and I heard say on here, but I've been saying on my posts on Facebook, on Twitter, everything. If Roman Reigns, CM Punk don't have a brawl like that, empty locker room, everything. A reason I have doubts going to happen because the Usos involved in all this, the times right now. But if they don't have that kind of brawl by the end of the match, they gotta fight it out before the go home show or something. I'm gonna be a little disappointed. Other than that, I wasn't disappointed by this. Well, other than Austin selling his soul and turning his back on his fan for McMahon. So without further ado, let's check it out because he's so desperate for the title. Let's get it.
1, 2. Is this on?
Rock vs. Austin defined an era and a generation of professional wrestling.
One of the great rivalries of all time. It's Ali and Frazier. It's the Lakers and the Celtics.
Their WrestleMania 17 epic in 2001 pulled the curtain on perhaps the greatest period in wrestling history.
Yep.
We might never see that again. Two guys that huge in the company at the same time.
The WWF reveled in victory upon defeating WCW once and for all.
And that's true. This is off of it was also like the seed planner for the visual invasion. Granted, it wasn't the best. The outcome wasn't the best, but at the same time, yeah.
Monday Night Wars. It was also fitting that the two wrestlers best responsible for winning the war battled it out on the grandest stage as we said goodbye to the Attitude Era.
It was important to me that I was the one leading the pack. I didn't want to be second. Steve Austin sure as hell didn't want to be second.
This was the quintessential Attitude Era main event between the WWF's two most popular stars.
As exact opposite as we are, we both share that same sentiment, which is I want to be the best.
Back in 2014, Stone Cold covered his famous Mania 17 clash with The Rock on the Steve Austin Show. We'll be using excerpts from this podcast to analyze the match. The Rattlesnake provides insight into the psychology of the bout and what it all meant by the end. Today we break down The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 17. The build-up on TV should have been as simple as Austin winning the Rumble and Rock reclaiming the WWF Championship a month out from Mania. And for the most part it was, besides a couple weeks detour with Steve's wife Deborah in the mix. This was Rock and Austin's WrestleMania sequel. Yes,
a lot of people wasn't liking it, but at the same time, I felt like it was definitely hyping up the drama as well too. That's why I feel like maybe this with the Uso in a way, kind of like hyping the drama as well too. Except they were Cyber Roman and all that.
The title was on the line, but this was also about proving who was the absolute best between Federations A1 and A2. During the build, we saw hints of how desperate Stone Cold was to win.
I remember going into WrestleMania 17 in Houston and cutting my promos against The Rock.
And thing with Stone Cold, why we couldn't at the time think that maybe he's showing signs of heel or anything, because he was already a badass anyway. This is what he do. He was even as a face, he'll whoop ass and don't give a shit as well too. I'm sorry, I should be wiping my nose in front of y'all. Give me a second. I say because you know how folks been speculated that Roman might be turning heel, going back his old heelish way for Tribal Chief ways, and he splayed that when he took down Punk as well too, or Punk's might be going heel, his old heel, best in the world, voice of the voiceless heel. In the way heel, well, voiceless came from babyface, but before that heel or anything, with the way he was laughing about Roman, the father dig, and him how his action was that he attacked Roman this past Raw as well too. Though, like stuff like that, we know is like could be. Look, folks will speculate signs as well too. In the time, and of course, we got social media and everything, so everybody had their own perspective and narrative and all this well too. That's the other thing, but right here, like we didn't think about it. Time, it was Austin being Austin at the time. We didn't think about like he's losing it or showing signs of heel or anything, because Austin was he was a badass regardless already. So there's that. So this is something to think about too.
Thought I out-promoted the guy. Even though Rock's stuff was awesome, my stuff was just more intense. I felt it. It was real. Bottom line is, Stone Cold
especially this segment here. Especially this segment here after him and Rock had that brawl. That and then you look back, they show that look back. Yeah, we should have saw something there. Unless people did.
During Austin's injury layoff in 2000, Rock carried the ball as TV ratings continued to soar. Meanwhile, the quality of the show was perhaps the best it had ever been. The Great One had only recently become a main eventer during he and Steve's last Mania encounter, but now they were both established megastars. But in many ways, the Rattlesnake was out to reclaim the throne the Brahma Bull had been keeping warm for him.
It was the match that was on so many levels.
That brawl right there,
but super personal for him, super personal for me.
Professionally, it was personal. In the ring, it was damn personal. The toast before the storm and Jay's sit-down interview with Rock and Austin the week before the show put it all into perspective.
Win, lose, or draw,
and this
you are going to get the absolute best of The Rock at WrestleMania.
Do I want to?
This is why I feel like, no king, nothing, but I think like this week coming, there's one line they gotta have a sit down. All Roman and Punk gotta have a sit down. They gotta do that. They gotta do that. I know folks get tired of people rekindling the old stuff, but this is what I want to see, yo. This is what reminds me of.
I do. But on a professional level, which bleeds over in my personal existence, I need to beat you, Rock. I need it more than anything that you can ever imagine.
Now, the only thing so different about that is why it's almost more intense with the CM Punk and Roman one is because this is like off of hate. It's not about one up each other. This is more about supposedly personal hate. I don't know if it was kayfabe personal hate or actual personal hate, but yeah.
I needed that championship. I thought The Rock was coming up there. I needed to stay here. So that was a shoot line for me, and he never knew that.
The stage was set, and the time had arrived. After being treated to the exceptional Limp Bizkit My Way hype package, I would think he'll surprise us with a no
That's what I need.
disqualification stipulation. JR's reaction on commentary is priceless.
There will be no disqualification.
What was that at him?
As the entrances began and two mega pops erupted inside the Houston Astrodome, the families of both competitors were sat in the front row opposite the hard camera. They were just as passionate and loud as the rest of the 67,000
I know also
crowd. When that glass broke, it ain't nothing but the shit is on. Right?
Yeah, and this is when Austin had that Disturbed joint, glass shatter. Yes, that theme still is my top favorite version of the Austin theme right there.
Right now, right here. My brother was sitting in the front row, right there next
his brother just like him. Oh my God, it's not even funny.
This match. It was a little bit chaotic, and I had to actually apologize to The Rock's mother for some of the things my brother said.
Meanwhile, 1 million people bought the show on pay-per-view.
He's a redneck.
We're gonna let it all come out, while the fans were gonna stand up and shout. This was a face versus face clash, but there was no time for pleasantries or even a lockup.
We're gonna jump this thing right off
the
bat, because the feud
that's how Roman
is hot. We don't need to lollygag. We don't need to pace. He's going to almost insult me by turning his back to me, hanging up onto that belt.
The Great One and the Rattlesnake jump-started the bout with an exchange of punches.
But it wasn't in time. And nor did we think they
Definitely.
This was the Attitude Era main event, so on
Yes,
top
it
of the
was.
full throttle, fast-paced action, it was only fitting we saw some crowd brawling.
But when you're out there in front of the people, you got to lay your shit in because they're right there and they can see everything you're doing.
We were in Austin country, so it was understandable that the Houston crowd favored Stone
Oh
Cold.
yeah, he's
This
in
even
Houston.
translated
That's
to boos for
right.
The Rock.
I see why Ross, because Ross was red too. I see why he says too. He was in Houston. Yup.
Again in partisan Texas crowd here.
Yeah,
Bubba Bull
Loki
fueled
was
it up in
booing Rock.
response
I
by
was
flipping off
God.
Austin.
Austin driven back into the corner. And now The Rock letting Austin know what he thinks of him.
The first bit of color came when the Great One was busted open after being hit with the ring bell.
Bing, yeah.
However, Rock had to cut his forehead multiple times because Steve wasn't happy with the initial blade job.
I'm not happy with the color he's got. Now, thing is, I'm pounding him here with right hands. But the thing is, Rock's about to go do a movie, so we've got to be careful with his appearance and his looks. I'm working on a little bit of a hard way here, but I know I can't lump him up too much. And I'm about to call for more color because this just is not enough.
Austin mentioned how he hiked up the aggression in this one to set the table for the turn later on. It had to be just enough so it made sense, but not enough to give away what was to come.
Getting physical with the referee. I know where I'm going at the end of the match. I'm already turning into a prick right now.
JR and Paul Heyman on commentary also had to toe this line while reacting to the match and crowd.
You got to do the commentary sensitively by what you're hearing and not make Rock a heel.
I was trying to make it like, wait a minute, when he got jacked, I want to, like, they flashback, like, the put different clips together. I think that clip was out there when Austin had to beat him up.
That was a key thing, not making Rock a heel. Right. And because we weren't sure, we didn't want to expose what our creator was going to be with Austin. We couldn't make Steve that force feed him as a babyface. Just let the thing evolve. Let it go, and play off the audience. What are they buying? And what are those two guys selling? So it was an interesting balance that we were walking.
Steve also stressed the importance of going for frequent covers, not just for the psychology of wanting to win, but also so he could secretly communicate with Rock to call the next sequence. The Rattlesnake noted how he and the People's Champ would subtly get into position, while not making it obvious they were preparing for the next spot. The general outline for the match was planned out the night before. The rest was called in the ring.
I remember the night before WrestleMania. The Rock, myself, Pat Patterson, I believe Jim Ross was there. As a matter of fact, we sat down, had dinner, and talked about this match and came up with the broad strokes. The broad strokes meaning we knew there were going to be a couple things that were going to happen in this match. Other than that, if you look closely, you'll see that I'm calling the match.
Stone Cold utilized a unique stagger cell for The Rock's comeback.
Okay, now this is what I got from an old Hitman Hearns fight way back in the day. I think it was Hagler versus Hearns, where Hitman just kept staggering back and forth off the ropes. And, of course, I'd take a bump on about every third punch. But this was just something to kind of get me on back pedal.
And The Rock with a right hand. And another right hand.
Steve is now also busted open while being out on his feet, completely punch drunk. Austin pointed out a flaw in the sharpshooter trade-off, given the no DQ stipulation.
The crowd's booing because he got to the ropes. I'm saying, hey, fuck you, I got this guy. Earl Hebner calling for the break, and, of course, I acquiesced. According to the rules. But if you go back to the rules, it was a no DQ match. Got away with it in the heat of the battle.
The crowd didn't care though, as they were on fire during this exchange. The sharpshooter wasn't the only callback to Steve's series with Bret Hart, as Austin locked Rock in the $1 Million Dream, only for the Great One to reverse, just like the Hitman did. 20 minutes into battle, and it was time for the flurry of finishers. This type of sequence is commonplace now, but back then it was reserved only for WrestleMania. Rock and Austin traded false finishes back and forth, while the hot crowd bit on each near fall.
Each other's finisher, and that damn stoner. Every time.
It was at this point Vince McMahon came down to help his bitter rival Stone Cold. From there, Austin went low and signaled for Vince to bring in a steel chair. The two double-teamed Rock, who fought back until Steve went to town on the Great One with chair shots.
I'm like, right.
Steel chair.
Right.
And it wasn't counted. I said, you just hit me as many times as you need to. When you're done.
Damn it! I showed a picture of the WrestleMania. The WrestleMania game.
But I gave him my body and I trusted it. We set a record that night for pay-per-view buy rates. And it was a very special night.
This ultimately gave Stone Cold the win, becoming the new WWF champion.
What the hell is this?
Jim Ross.
Because I'd gained so much of my edge back by the end of that match, the fans didn't give a damn about me beating the hell out of Rock with that steel chair. It was a no disqualification match, so the fans didn't care. It was a legal move. When I got the win, there was a hell of a pop. There were over 67,000 people yelling for me. what I was feeling right then was, don't turn heel.
JR and Heyman sold it to perfection on commentary, as Austin turned heel to align with his evil boss and once despised foe, McMahon. Stone Cold later regretted his decision to become a heel. Vince wanted something huge to happen at WrestleMania, so the Rattlesnake believed this was the answer. He wanted to turn, and McMahon felt he owed it to Steve to let him try.
I had gotten the feeling that I was feeling a little bit stale. I wanted to turn heel. I've always liked to be a bad guy, and The Rock was doing so good as a good guy and a top guy. I figured this would be a premier time for Stone Cold to turn heel.
Despite Austin's regret, there was no denying the incredible contest we just witnessed.
You know, I'm like, but I hate when like this kind of okay here when the person wanted to be there. I'm like, oh man, because I heard a story that they say Rick Steamboat had been never turned heel a day of his life. He actually wanted to. I'm like, oh wow. Anyway,
if I'd gone back,
I don't know anybody. I don't know. Like, it's just me. It's like I don't know anybody want to be a bad guy. That's all.
And now, hindsight being 2020, I would have told Vince right then. I'd say, hey man, go drink your beer, come back. I'm gonna hit your ass with a stunner, because what I think needs to happen is I need to stay a babyface. And I didn't realize that until the end of the match. But I was so full set on being a heel because I love working heel. You know, I wanted to stay the course.
It's like making John Wayne a Nazi general in a movie. Who's gonna buy that?
That's the finale of the Attitude Era ended with the three men that were most responsible for defeating WCW in the Monday Night War.
I love The Rock. The Rock loves me.
True.
The rivalry that helped shift the balance of power was no more, as Austin joined forces with McMahon, so the turn was symbolic in many ways. This was the final match of the wrestling boom that gripped the mainstream, so it was only fitting that wrestling turned on its head as sport's biggest anti-hero became a villain. Rock vs. Austin's WrestleMania 17 epic defined a generation. It was the two greatest of all time, main eventing the greatest show in history to close out the greatest era in wrestling. Now if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our similar video on the WWE match deemed too good for...
Yeah, cool. Alright, so I gotta check some... I get back on some flashback videos, but this was a good way to get a little insight of that as well too, though. Definitely. And brought back some memory of the match. Not just the match. They'll build up to the match, the hype for it and all that. Yeah, I got something on my nose. Y'all seeing that. I do apologize. Give me a second. I'm back. I hope that wasn't too nose with this whole video. It was. Oh well. Anyway, the hype on the match, the build up to the match, the ending, whether you was like, no, why Austin, why, or he was a heel fiend with the yay Austin, yeah, because you know, people was heel fiends, probably been heel fiends all their life. It's just now the internet and social media existent, well, internet existed, but like social media is bigger now and they coming out the woodworks now. It's ridiculous. But other than that, yeah. All-time classic matchup for WrestleMania matchup, Stone Cold versus Rock as well too. WrestleMania 17. Like I said, hope Paul and Roman lived up to just about the hype as this as well too, so they can tell a story about this match too as well. So other than that, if you like my reaction, like, share, subscribe my YouTube channel. It's your boy T-Bird signing off. One love.